What's up, everybody? How you doing? Let me fix the webcam here. Holy shit! As you guys can tell, I got the microphone really close to my mouth because usually I keep it far away on top of my counter, my desk over here, and I thought it sounds better close up, so I'm kind of holding the microphone near my mouth here while we speak, so it sounds a lot clearer. Let me know what you guys think of the sound and everything. Kind of just holding it in my hand, not really the way you're supposed to do it. But welcome to the channel, World of Wrestling, here today to discuss about the AEW Battle of the Belts 2 and also Impact Wrestling from April 14th, 2022 review. We're going to discuss a little bit about Jon Moxley and a few other things that took place on backstage news and rumors that happened during this week that I found very interesting, especially Braun Strowman running his mouth with Buff Bagwell. My God, that was fucking ridiculous. Big On is asking, why don't you think Bobby Lashley can take the title off of Roman Reigns? Real simple, Big On. Because nobody's going to beat Roman Reigns. There's only one person, and that's Cody Rhodes. That is going to be the guy that they're setting up to win. If you pay very close attention to the Raw after Mania, he even brings a lot of clues in his promo about him going to be with him being the actual guy to take the title off of Roman Reigns. But it's not going to be until WrestleMania, I think. Bottom line, I've told Matt 87 Eagle this, so I'll tell you guys this. The truth of the matter is, I think that Cody is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase this year and keep it all the way till Mania after The Rock and Roman Reigns has their match, and then Cody will cash in on Roman Reigns after the match is over. That is how this is all going to go down. This is how Roman Reigns is Roman Reigns' reign as champion is going to end. But yeah, that is pretty much what is going to happen here. No doubt about it. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Rock is going to win the Royal Rumble and then face Roman Reigns at the end of the day. That is what we're going to get. So don't piss on the messenger. That's just my prediction. That's my thought. That's the way I feel about the whole situation. I don't think that we're going to get anything, surprising. I mean, we had a build with Roman Reigns and Shinsuke Nakamura to end SmackDown last week, and I'm not too surprised by that. Roman Reigns is going to lose that title. I don't think he's going to lose at all. I think Roman Reigns will retain, and we will have a new challenger for the World Championship. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because the main focus is The Rock. Give you guys a prime reason why I believe The Rock and Roman Reigns will be taking place at WrestleMania 39 in Los Angeles is because of the fact that I just recently, well, not just recently, this past Monday, I came across an article that actually showed, states that, I'm trying to think here, that on Young Rock's episode, they showed The Rock and his family watching the Royal Rumble from 1996 when he was just starting out and he was in the middle of training, moving into the progression stage of being part of the WWF main roster. What happened during that portion of the show is Roman Reigns appeared as a young Joey Anola, I think is how you pronounce his last name. If I mispronounce the name, I apologize. He is actually shown as a younger Joey and Roman Reigns, I should say. And The Rock points out Roman Reigns in that segment. He also states that there's going to be a future World Championship match between him and Roman Reigns. That is correct, folks. He actually advertised a possible match between Roman Reigns and The Rock on a TV show. That is freaking unbelievable. So if you think that if they're advertising that in a television show, a televised show that is by The Rock himself, describing how his life was growing up as a youngster, moving and transitioning from football player to pro wrestler, you're crazy. This is going to happen. I didn't believe it, and now I do, based on that situation. Braun Strowman and Buff Bagwell, getting into that, they actually had a confrontation with each other. They talked some shit. Braun Strowman brought up Buff Bagwell's past, about him getting arrested. So Buff Bagwell brought up his past. He also, Buff Bagwell made a joke about Braun Strowman's new faction, Control Your Own Narrative. And he kind of shit on him, said that they're a joke and whatnot. And Braun Strowman didn't appreciate that. So that's the reason why he brought up Buff Bagwell's past of being arrested and so forth. So Buff Bagwell went right back to him and stuck it to him with a fucking remark about him getting arrested. Very childish stuff that took place between these two guys. I didn't really appreciate that all that much. Thought it was really silly and stupid. Also, John Moxley. Oh my gosh, man. There's a report going around, rumors, and these people are just fucking idiots. John Moxley was supposed to be at at a wedding with fucking Corey Graves and Carmella. They're supposed to be married, right? And he was invited by Corey Graves. Now, by the way, I did check out something. John Moxley's actually got a match with Will Ospreay for New Japan Wrestling at 8 o'clock. This is for New Japan Wrestling Windy City Riot event. I don't know if this is taking place right now or it's being taken place later on or some shit like that. But he's the main event with fucking Will Ospreay in a special match. There's no championship on the line, nothing like that. But they're the main event. And he's showing up to a wedding in his own wrestling attire. Now, some people think, oh my God, that means he might be going to WWE. No, dumbasses. It doesn't have anything to do with him being, in his wrestling attire, meaning that he's going to be part of the WWE. No. So that explains why he was in his wrestling gear. He actually is supposed to be at a wrestling event in Chicago, with him and Will Ospreay competing one-on-one for for just a one-on-one special match. That's the reason why he's in his ring attire, not because he was late for the wedding. By the way, Matt 87 Eagle brought that to my attention while we were watching Battle of the Belts. So yeah, I actually came across that, Matt, and found that he's supposed to be at a live event for New Japan Wrestling against Will Ospreay in the main event. So that's the reason why he was in his wrestling gear. It had nothing to do with him being late or anything like that. He just had to be in the wrestling gear so that he's ready, and once he arrives to the event, he can just show up and do the performance that he needs to do with Will Ospreay. That's the reason why he was in that wrestling gear to begin with. So there you go, folks. I mean, people are just fucking stupid to actually assume that John Moxley would even consider going to WWE when he's got one of the best performances taking place right now in AEW. I mean, he's doing some really great stuff. I mean, him, Wheeler Yuta, and fucking Bryan Danielson, along with William Regal, are, killing it together. They're creating good storylines and everything. Why would he leave AEW for WWE just because Cody Rhodes happens to be getting what he wants in WWE right now. I personally do not get this. I apologize. I'm trying to get to nodq.com to actually give you guys my oh wait, hold on. I gotta go to a different website to pull this up. Sorry guys. Um, but yeah, I mean, this is fucking ridiculous. The man is completely happy where he is. And I'll pull up this report to prove that. And I think everybody else would totally agree with me on that anyway, and they don't even need to hear this report, but I'll state it anyway. By WrestlingNews.co, John Moxley is reportedly super happy in AEW. So here's the deal. There has been a rumor making the rounds this week on social media about John Moxley. The rumor states that Moxley is unhappy in AEW. He's unhappy in AEW. Are you fucking kidding me? That's funny, man. Him being unhappy in AEW. He's given one of the biggest spots in the show outside of Adam Cole and Hangman Page. And then you got fucking and then you got Jericho having his own thing going on. I mean, they are on a weekly basis doing something on the show. He is not doing, not sitting on the sidelines or anything. How the hell could anyone assume that he's unhappy working at AEW? You got to be out of your fucking mind, man. Jesus Christ. All right, so let me continue. So the rumor is untrue. Thank God. I mean, anyone that actually believed in that shit's a fucking retard. Per Dave Meltzer on the Wrestling Observer forum, Moxley is happy with AEW. Meltzer said he told me last week he was super happy. In January 2021 QA, Moxley didn't close the door on a possible WWE return, while also pointing out that it's unlikely to happen. Moxley said you gotta say never, because you don't want to run back what you said years later because you don't know what'll happen. Holy shit. I don't believe what I just heard. Folks, didn't I say here on the channel a couple of days ago? It was this week, actually. Didn't I say don't talk shit about the competition? If you want to shit on the competition, that's fine, but make sure you stick to your words. Cody Rhodes didn't do that. He, on the other hand, decided to go to AEW and start shitting on WWE. John Moxley never did any of those things. He never did. Never in 1 second did he ever say a negative thing about WWE. The only negative thing that John Moxley ever said about WWE was the fact that he thought the creators of WWE and the booking of these shows were terrible. He was not happy there. That was his main reason why he left. Unfortunately, if they would have treated him properly and would have given him a good booking and creative ideas for his character, he probably more than likely, actually, no, not more than likely, he wouldn't have left at all. He would have stayed in WWE. We would still know him as Dean Ambrose. But the problem is, he was not given that kind of treatment. Seth Rollins is given that kind of treatment. And now Cody Rhodes, because WWE needs a guy like Cody Rhodes. They need someone that gives that reality type of feeling to their show, because at the end of the day, they don't trust their actual talent that they have there. So there's the reasoning behind WWE and what they do. And that's why Cody is getting the kind of treatment he's getting, because they can't afford to lose him again. I mean, that fiasco at the Stardust thing and not listening to him cost them plenty. I think he would have been very beneficial to stay with WWE, and they would have made money off of his ass. But unfortunately, they didn't want to listen to him, so he went elsewhere and did his own thing. The only problem is he, pretty much shit all over the company. Any chance he got. He said something nasty about WWE and pretty much said that he was never going to leave the indies or ever go back to the other company, the other competition, should I say. And unfortunately, he went back on his word. He should have never said any of those things because he never knew if he would ever go back to the company he started with. And not to mention, granted, yes, WWE treated him poorly in creative booking, but without WWE, who would have fuck known who Cody Rhodes really was? Okay? I don't care if you share the name of the biggest legend in this business. If nobody knows who the fuck you are, nobody's going to care. And, fortunate enough for Cody, he worked in WWE first. Same thing with Jon Moxley. Jon Moxley worked in WWE first to get that big notice from a lot of people. So that's pretty much how I feel and why I've been shitting on Cody Rhodes so much. Jon Moxley, on the other hand, is a very smart man. That's the reason why if he ever was to go back to WWE, I wouldn't be mad at the guy because he's smart enough to realize he doesn't want to look like a contradicting idiot like Cody Rhodes has done over the years when he was not working for WWE. So there you go. Anyway, let me go into some of the comments, not many. So that's a good thing. I mean, if you guys want to leave comments, go ahead. I have a lot to cover here, so we will be here for a while. But let me go over just the two other comments. Big On actually was telling me that he's watching SmackDown versus Raw 2006 and 2007 videos. And then he goes on to say, will WWE bring back Last Man Standing, Inferno matches, and First Blood matches? Well, they have Last Man Standing matches. They just haven't utilized them in a long while. Inferno matches, I don't believe will ever come back to WWE. You can count that out based on the way the product is produced. And First Blood matches, Vince McMahon doesn't even like anyone bleeding unless it's an absolute accident. So count that out. You got a better chance of seeing that in AEW. I mean, every fucking match with AEW is almost a First Blood match. And then Matt87 Eagle says Braun Strowman should learn to control his mouth and keep it shut. Obviously, for good reasons. I mean, the more shit he says, the more trouble he gets into. So I totally agree with that sentiment. But hey, this is Braun Strowman. He runs fast, but has no brains. That's pretty much my sentiment on that. Anyway, let's go into the complete AEW Battle of the Belts 2 show. This was actually pre-taped. This was right after Rampage, I believe, because as you guys could tell, the show felt like a pre-tape show. It felt like a tape show. It didn't feel like it was live like Rampage was. Rampage was off the fucking chain. This show, no. This show was not off the chain. It was okay. But to be quite frank with you, I think Battle of the Belts need to go. I don't see any point in them. They're once in a blue moon, once every 3 months or so. I think the last one was in January. This one took place in April. I'm not really impressed with Battle of the Belts. The last 2 episodes, they've been not really that meaningful. They don't really help the show out that much. The main event for the women's match wasn't all that intriguing. I think Thunder Rosa deserved a lot better than Nyla Rose as her first opponent. Not to mention, there was not a lot of story being told between these 2 women. We had a couple of little, interactions and whatnot, but at the end of the day, did we really get anything important with this shit? No, we didn't get nothing. This show was dead. The only thing that really was all that entertaining was Sammy Guevara versus Scorpio Sky. That was a good match, but the decision on booking Scorpio Sky to lose was fucking stupid. The reason why I say that is, then why did they take the title off of Sammy Guevara in the first place? Scorpio Sky didn't have that, but maybe a month if he was lucky. What was the fucking point of doing that then? I just don't get it. If you guys have an answer to that question, please let me know in the comments because I don't. I really don't. Or in the chat, of course, because we're live. But let's be real, guys. This was a fucking joke for them to take the title off of Scorpio Sky so quickly. I just totally disagreed with the decision. I really didn't like what they decided to do here. Scorpio Sky should have retained the fucking championship. Bottom line. And this thing with Sammy Guevara and Tay Conte. I mean, my God, with the tongue making and all this shit. Like, what the fuck are we watching? A reenactment of Edge and Lita? These two couldn't kiss Edge and Lita's ass. No offense to Sammy Guevara. He's an upcoming rising superstar, but he's not anywhere near the realm of Edge at this point in his career. Give it some time, man. But imitating Edge and Lita ain't going to get me all hot and heavy and crazy over Sammy Guevara. I mean, shit. Don't get me wrong. Tay Conte is fucking hot as hell, but come on, man. You know? I mean, shit, man. We don't need to watch them make out while we all sit here with some of us possibly single, being jealous off of our asses, wishing we could go ahead and have a girlfriend to lap our tongue with. I mean, come on, man. I mean, this is fucking annoying, man. Watching two people making out like that in fucking public in front of a television set. I mean, it's not really classy. It's very disgusting. And it's not even much of a face-like look there. It looks like a heel-like type of mentality. I mean, you're going to sit there and act all cocky. I got a hot girlfriend with your tongue in your girlfriend's mouth and your girlfriend's tongue in your mouth. I mean, what the fuck? Who's going to buy into this as a fucking gosh darn legit face run? This ain't no face run. This is pure, just making fun of your audience or just saying fuck you to the fans with that making out shit. Like, look at me. I got a really hot girlfriend. I'm a badass. It's like that jock that goes ahead and make fun of all the nerds because he gets all the girls and they have a harder time getting a girlfriend. I mean, give me a fucking break, man. And I'm supposed to buy this shit as being a face? Who the fuck wants to watch this shit? I also heard a few boos taking place during this match near the end when he hit the go to hell. I mean, there was fans all actually booing this ending. I couldn't believe it. It was funny as shit. Matt 87 Eagle says the only thing that comes to mind is phasing out the duplicate TNT belt. Excuse me, not TNA, TNT belt. Still don't agree with the title change. Absolutely, Matt. I really didn't think that Scorpio Sky was going to lose the title so soon. They could have always booked this at another point and had a rematch again, but they decided to do it here. This was retarded. This is like what they did with Cody and Sammy Guevara during that Christmas holiday event. I don't understand the mentality here. And a lot of times AEW gets the right, way of thinking about booking matches and championships and all that stuff. But let's be real, guys. This was not the best decision. And I think that they made a huge mistake here. I wish they would have done something more with this. But unfortunately, they didn't really do the best job with this situation. And I think the title should be with Scorpio Sky, not Sammy Guevara. But hey, it is what it is. Hopefully, with all that, we get a heel run from Sammy Guevara because the way they got him acting, he's not acting like a face. A heel would do this kind of shit. Not a heel. Not a face, excuse me. The Ring of Honor World Championship between Jonathan Gresham and Dalton Castle. My thoughts on this match, it was an okay match. Dalton Castle has lost a few steps, in my opinion. I used to like him as an in-ring performer in Ring of Honor before they got bought out by AEW. But this match was average at best. But this was not the best performance I've seen from Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle, when he first won the world championship in 2017 final battle against Cody Rhodes, go figure. He had a great match with him, and then he had a series of great title defenses that he did an excellent job with. Unfortunately, with this match, he was kind of off, in my opinion. Didn't really attract my attention that much either. I kind of was flipping between watching the TV set and looking at my phone. And I just, didn't care for this match so much. Thankfully they did the right thing and they booked Jonathan Gresham to win. And he won with the abdominal stretch type maneuver. They changed the name of it to like the octopus stretch or some shit. I don't know. Wasn't really paying attention to commentary when they announced the move that Jonathan Gresham was applying to Dalton Castle. Now, after the match was over, we had Jay Lethal show up. Jay Lethal was posing around with Sanjay Dutt. And then all of a sudden, Satnam Singh shows up and they're coming down the ring. Now, everyone wants to say he is a copycat of the Great Khali. I will agree with everyone on that comment. What I won't agree with is he doesn't move a lot like the Great Khali. He moves a little bit faster. He looks like he's in better shape. He doesn't have like all kinds of problems with his knees. But at the end of the day, he doesn't really bring any kind of interest, in my opinion, that he's got to offer. I mean, almost same exact thing. They seem to deliver the same exact type of wrestling capability, which isn't much. It's one dimensional. It's Braun Strowman type mentality, and it doesn't bring nothing to the table. Their size is great, but their abilities to do other things is not. It's not there. It can't. There's no variation of different things. They're one dimensional. And that's the problem with big men. They can't be more than just one dimensional. That's the only thing they can be is one dimensional. They don't have the ability to do any kind of uh, kicks, dives, or anything exactly really all that special. So that's the major issue with the larger men in pro wrestling. The only guys I can think of that really do a lot of different variation of moves and can really entertain a crowd is like a Biggie, Keith Lee, Brian Cage is another one. He's a very muscular man. Um, they bring tons of stuff to the table besides just muscle and size. And that is what we need to have on these shows is guys that can do a lot more than just powerhouse moves. Will Hobbs is actually an exception, I will say. I think Will Hobbs is very impressive. He's very fast. He reminds me a lot of Batista's stature. He moves as fast as Batista, actually faster probably. Same with Big E. They both move very fast compared to Batista could. But Batista was a pretty fast dude for his size and the muscle he was carrying around. He was a pretty fast motherfucker. I know one thing. I wouldn't want Batista running at me full speed ahead and knock me on my ass. I mean, you got to be out of your fucking mind. Unless you like getting hit by trains or buses. Jeez, man. But bottom line, these men that I just mentioned, these are guys that you can get invested in with these big, large guys that got muscle and all that stuff. They actually can provide something more than just one-dimensional shit. But unfortunately, this Satnam Singh guy, I don't see anything in him. I see him as just a guy that'll do some choke slams, some powerhouse moves, but moving in the ring and keeping the momentum of a match going and the pace of the match going at a full throttle, I don't see that ever happening for this man. This guy he's got everything against him. He is totally at a disadvantage. Him being a muscle, yes, I think Satnam Singh would be great as a muscle man, a manager, or something like that. But for him to be a guy that goes ahead and just shows up, wrestles in the middle of the ring, and gives us a 5-star classic or anything close to that, I highly doubt that will actually happen. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to shit on Satin Singh, but I just don't see anything in this man that will provide us any hope that we will get what we're looking for. And that's just the sad part about his situation. Fortunately, I see nothing in him. Cut him out. Cut him loose. Let him go. That's just my attitude. I'm not giving this a chance. And I'm not trying to shit on the guy. I would like to see him succeed. I mean, the guy's I'm certain he's invested a lot of his time in this. He failed at basketball. I mean, he wouldn't be in the pro wrestling realm if he would have made it in basketball. I mean, shit, right now we're in the first day of the NBA playoffs. I mean, I think he would be a lot happier being in the NBA. That was his first love. That's where he was, where he first started to earn a living. And he got drafted in the NBA. So I think that's what he cared about first, not about pro wrestling. Okay. Pro wrestling was his second thing he wanted to do because he didn't make it in basketball. That's that simple, man. This guy was a complete bust. And he's going to be a complete bust in pro wrestling. The guy ought to find something else to do because wrestling ain't for him. Bottom line. And some people, it's not for them. Maybe he has a very intellectual mind when it comes to the business. If that's the case, let him be a producer. Let him have some creativity with producing shows. But having him as a performer, I wouldn't want to waste this man's time. Give him something else to do or just let him go. Plain and simple. All right, so Matt 87 Eagle had a few things else to say here. He said, we call out AEW when we think they drop the ball on something. Yes, of course. We do that with every promotion, Matt, not just AEW. So there you go. Matt 87 Eagle also stated that this was a better showcase of Singh than Wednesday, throwing everyone around and bouncing them off the mat like basketballs. And the Matt 87 Eagle states it's basically the grab at the Indian market by AEW. Yeah, it's a very similar situation that they did with Jinder Mahal being WWE champion in WWE. That's all this is. Just fortunate enough, we're not seeing him as AEW World Champion. Because if that was the case, I would discontinue this channel at this point. I'd give up on wrestling completely. Thank God they aren't that fucking stupid, right? But damn, man, this is this guy. I'm serious. He is not what we can invest our time in. Maybe Matt is correct. You know, he did display some kind of a little bit more than what he did. But let's be honest, the match, what he did there wasn't all that much of a big deal. And then to make matters worse, people are coming in like Matt Sydal, Lee Moriarty, coming to the rescue of Jonathan Gresham. And Jonathan Gresham looked like a fucking putz, too. He's staring at this large-ass guy. And then you got fucking Jay Lethal bouncing off the ropes, doing a ballerina act, doing a flip, and then hitting the fucking lethal injection while Jonathan Gresham turns around and watches this all go down. Why didn't he move out of the way? Why didn't he kick him in the gut while he was, upside down trying to perform the move? Or better yet, get out of the fucking ring. How about that? Something intelligent. There was nothing intelligent here. Jay Lethal hits the lethal injection, and then Satin Singh goes about destroying the Ring of Honor World Champion. Then we get Lee Moriarty coming down, rushes into the ring, and looks up at the guy, and he's going, oh, well. And he just starts trying to throw forearms to his fucking face, and he literally has to jump in the air to do it. And Singh just beats the shit out of him as well. Matt Sydal's following him from behind too. I forgot to mention. He gets in the ring. His leg is fucked up. He has a minor injury, I think. And he tries to hit him with a fucking damn crutch. That doesn't do nothing. And Singh just demolishes Matt Sydal. Finally, someone with brains in their head The Samoan killer, Samoa Joe, shows up with a fucking pipe in his hand. And he gets in the ring, and then all three of them run away. Why did all three of them run away? It was a 3-on-1 situation. The only thing that Samoa Joe had on him was a lead pipe. That's it. What the hell did they have to run away for? I mean, what the fuck? This was the dumbest thing I ever saw from AEW. But hey, it's wrestling. Sometimes you're gonna get the good, just sometimes you're gonna get bad. You just gotta take it for what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna state the obvious, and whatever's obvious, whether it's positive or negative, I'm gonna state it. And if it's negative, I'm gonna criticize the fucking shit out of it because I don't want my intelligence insulted. You know what I mean? So that's just the way I feel. But bottom line, yeah, this was fucking retarded. And then the main event with the women's world championship for AEW. I have to say that Nyla Rose needs to hit the fucking bricks. I really do. I don't think this match was entertaining. It's the same old repetitive shit that Nyla Rose does. And the ending was not believable. I mean, you had a roll-up pinfall by Thunder Rosa, and Nyla Rose couldn't kick out. This is like watching fucking WWE with Nia Jax being rolled up by some fucking 150-pound woman or 120-pound woman who's in great shape, rolls her up, and she can't kick out, and she weighs almost 250 fucking pounds. I mean, come on, man. This is fucking ridiculous. This is childish shit. I don't know what the fuck Tony Khan's smoking, but these last two shows outside of Rampage, Dynamite and this, I haven't liked. I liked the Dynamite completely except for the sing thing. Thought that was fucking ridiculous. But this show, nah, it wasn't really worth the time. I mean, I promised you guys I would give you a review, and that's what I'm doing here. But honestly, if I missed it, I wouldn't have cared. At first, on paper, it looked good, but as it progressed, it didn't look so good. It's just my feelings on that, my thoughts. You guys want to leave a comment in the chat while we're still here live, please go ahead. If you happen to catch it after the show is live, leave a comment about AEW Battle of the Belts too. But we're going to move on here. It's 37 or 38 minutes in. We're going to move on to the Impact Wrestling event that took place. So give me 1 second here. This is Impact Wrestling April 14th review for 2022, of course. So let's get right into the results of what happened. This was actually a good show. If you guys don't have Access TV or Impact Plus, I would recommend getting Impact Plus. If you guys are wrestling fans and you can afford $7.99 a month, I would recommend getting this. It's got everything from TNA from back in the day. Unfortunately, they do not have all the Impact Wrestling shows uploaded on their Impact Plus app. For some strange reason, they stopped in the middle of 2008 and just totally discontinued doing it, which I don't know why. It made no sense to me, but whatever. So if you don't really care about the missing episodes, and that ain't a big deal for you to go back and relive the old episodes of Impact Wrestling, that's fine. I mean, they have from 2000, I believe the first episode was in 2004. So they do have episodes from 2004 in chronological order all the way up to 2008. March of 2008, I believe, was the last episode they actually uploaded on their app. So if you guys are interested in that and want to check that out, plus also all their old week-to-week pay-per-view shows for TNA, by all means, man, I would recommend it. If you were a TNA fan at one point and you want to go back and check out all the old shit that you might have not got to see or never seen before, I would recommend it. It is fun to watch. And it's not a waste of your time. And of course, you're not on a contract, so you can cancel at any time. My God, I sound like I'm advertising Impact Wrestling as if I work for the fucking company. And I do this shit for free, man. So go figure that one out. Anyway, man. Impact Wrestling was actually good this past Thursday. I enjoyed it. Watched the whole entire thing from beginning and didn't skip a single beat. Thought the storylines that are being built for this Rebellion pay-per-view coming up on April 23rd is definitely a watch. This is a card that I think a lot of you would be interested in as wrestling fans. This has definitely got a lot to offer. A lot of these matches are very, very intriguing to watch. And they only pack in a couple hundred fucking people. I don't understand this shit. I mean, honestly, if you saw, I'm serious, if you saw the storyline build that's going on between Jason Alexander and Moose for the Impact Wrestling World Championship, you would say, please take my money. I'll give you the complete breakdown on what's going on. Back in Bound for Glory, back when Christian Cage was the world champion in 2021, Jason Alexander was the opponent for Christian Cage. He beat Christian Cage, made him tap out in a ankle lock. He also had problems with his arm or some shit as well, Christian Cage, and he just tapped out. So that was that. He ended the match. It was over. He was celebrating in the middle of the ring with his family. His family was there. His wife, his kid, his younger kid actually was not, simply because of the fact that there was some physical stuff that took place. So I guess they want to take a chance of him getting hurt, some shit like that. But anyway, Moose actually wins this briefcase type of situation where if he won the a gauntlet match during the middle of the show, he would be granted a world championship match anytime he wanted. So he actually saw an opportunity to just do this at the end of the pay-per-view, and that's what he did. He initialized on the opportunity and just hit the spear on Jason Alexander and pinned him 1-2-3 for the victory. He looked like he was going to attack his family in the process of doing this, and Jason Alexander just sacrificed himself to protect his family. So for the last 6 months, on a continuous basis, Jason Alexander has been on a hunt to go after this motherfucker. He was unable to in multiple occasions. Scott D'Amore was also on his case about controlling his temper and having a little self-control with his emotions. But his attitude was, dude, man, the man stole my championship after I had a great moment in my career. Almost hurt my family in the process of doing this. And then you want to tell me to control myself? I want to kill this motherfucker, you know? But Scott D'Amore kept him, away from Moose for a while. And he's just been winning. Jason Alexander has been winning on countless occasions in one-on-one matches to continue to earn his rematch for the world title that he lost in a very terrible fashion, may I add. As time went on, Moose actually attacked Jason Alexander's wife in an independent wrestling show that Jason Alexander was at. He hit a spear on his wife. His fucking wife is like a fucking toothpick. She's a toothpick, for goodness sakes. And she speared the poor woman out of her feet. Out of her shoes, I should say, not out of her feet. That'd be kind of weird. But yeah, you get my point. She got speared out of her shoes. And he's asking for help, all that stuff. And he had this look on his face like, I'm going to kill this mofo. And since then, he's been on this hunt continuously, even more than he was before. So now he's being granted a world championship opportunity at Rebellion on April 23rd. Despite the fact I don't watch Impact Wrestling on a regular basis, I'm actually looking forward to this match. This match looks very entertaining. The storyline is excellent. A 6-month build, no less. Jason Alexander on a fucking tear, destroying everybody that gets in his way and in one-on-one matches, and beats everybody, hasn't lost since. That's an amazing, amazing story to be told there. Who do I think's going to win? I don't know. I think at the end of the day, we should see Jason Alexander win, but who's the fuck to tell who's going to win this? This is a very close situation. Either way you could go with it. It's very entertaining. Another thing that I will mention is that shit, I forgot what I was going to say. The other guy that you should be looking out for leading up to Bound for Glory of this year would be W. Morrissey. Reason being, on this episode, they had him kickstart the show. He was talking about what happened to him back when he was working in the 2300 arena. So this show was taking place in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, of course. And he discusses about all of the stuff that happened to him during the time he was last performing there. He was severely sick. He was totally out of shape. He was on drugs. He was fucked up beyond belief. He went into rehab. He overcame the drugs, all that stuff. He's in the best shape he's ever been in. Better than when he was in WWE as Big Cass with Enzo Amore. I mean, this guy is fucking ripped to shreds. He worked his tail off to get into shape. I don't know if he's doing steroids or not. If he did it, the correct way without any kind of ways of doing it with steroids, then kudos to him, man, because he looks in magnificent shape. So he's discussing about all that. He's talking about how he's worked really hard to get back where he is. He's thanking God as well, which I thought was really cool. And he was interrupted by Brian Myers. Oh boy. Brian Myers cut a promo that I thought was cringe beyond belief. He's talking about how W. Morrissey destroyed all of his tables he tried to do announcing at, and he didn't appreciate that, and he feels like he was getting screwed. What the fuck am I listening to here? This was the one thing I will criticize on this show. This was the one thing that made absolutely no fucking sense to me at all. But it was, it was what it was. It's just a way of giving W. Morrissey something to do along with Brian Myers and Matt Cardona, which, by the way, these two are together with Chelsea Green as the major players. I think it's a kind of a catchy thing, something that a lot of people would get behind with this faction. I don't have a problem with it, actually. What I do have a problem is the fucking promo that was presented with Brian Myers. I thought that was the most ridiculous thing. But hey, I haven't been watching the show in fucking months at a time. So shoot me, But honestly, this was, Chelsea Green came down. She interfered in the whole situation. W. Morrissey eventually led to him attacking Brian Myers. He looked like he was going to do a power bomb through a table. Unfortunately, that was countered. And then Myers and Matt Cardona did the finishing touches to W. Morrissey. Basically, Matt Cardona came out of nowhere, hit W. Morrissey with the Impact Wrestling Digital Championship, knocked him silly, and then did a double power bomb through the table to put W. Morrissey out of commission for this segment. That's pretty much what happened. But yeah, that was pretty much what took place there. Nothing really special or all that intriguing, to be quite frank with you, outside of the impactful speech that W. Morrissey said and the major players making the attack that they made. That was about the only thing that was all that intriguing. Brian Myers' segment, a portion of that segment, kind of brought it down when he started talking. Had he not talked at all and you just attacked him, I think this would have been an excellent segment. We also then have Deonna Purrazzo defending the Ring of Honor Women's Championship. By the way, is the official women's champion of Ring of Honor, even though she's working in Impact Wrestling. Go figure that one out. And they call this match the Champ Challenge because she's, of course, the AAA Women's Champion as well. Her opponent was Willow Nightingale. She was the challenger against Mercedes Martinez at the Super Card of Honor. And, of course, she loses that match and then loses this match, too. I'd like to know one thing. Why the fuck is she getting a championship opportunity when she lost an interim title, which is a second-rate championship compared to the actual belt? That makes no sense. Could you imagine UFC? Imagine this. UFC has interim championship belts from time to time, depending on if a UFC champion's injured or just is not ready to compete, has contract issues with UFC. Something like that, you know? And they decide then we're going to create an interim championship for the time being. That way we actually have a championship to be utilized on a pay-per-view. And imagine the challenger, the loser of the match between the two, challenges the actual champion in another match. Would you actually see any of that happen in UFC? Of course not. It wouldn't make any sense. I understand the show's fixed. I get it. But still, it makes no sense. It's illogical. Willow Nightingale should not be competing for the actual Ring of Honor Women's Championship. Just my thoughts on that. Match-wise, though, good match. Very good match. I have no ill wills towards this match at all. I think it was a very entertaining match for what it was. And they did a great job. Deonna Purrazzo wins by submission with the Fuji armbar. And she wins and retains her title. So that was that. Mickie James is backstage. So she goes ahead and says Mickie James is the next to be attacked by the Major Players trio later on in the show. That's what actually happens here. And Mickie is laid out as we cut to the break. Now, this was very weak. I mean, the interaction between Chelsea Green and Mickie James, very cringy, I guess you could say. There was no real emotion behind this. This was something I didn't like about the show as well. Very weak, load of shit. Just my thoughts. We come back from commercial break, and we get Tasha Steelz stating that she's not afraid of the realm being decay. She's supposedly defending her title at Rebellion against Rosemary. This should be a good match. I like Rosemary. I've found her work to be very entertaining. Sometimes she's not so good in the ring, but what she does in the ring, the story that she can tell is good. She does a good job at telling stories in the middle of the match. She gets very into her opponent's head, very much like the Undertaker type of mentality. She used a lot of getting into their psyche, basically. And that's what she does in most of her matches. Bray Wyatt did the same thing, too. That's another one you can name off. And she's cutting a promo about Rosemary. And then Rosemary and she states that Rosemary and her have a lot of history going through 2021, and she hasn't forgotten that. She then states, but this year is totally different. She went from losing the tag team titles to becoming an individual women's world champion in Impact Wrestling. She states that that's not going to change. And now Steels is the Knockouts Women's Champion and so forth. She's already for those. She's ready for those mind games, is basically what she says. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Rosemary appears on the screen behind her, and they have like this graphic on the screen as you're watching it of it getting all whacked out and weird. This is the kind of stuff I like to see. They don't do any magical powers or anything or mind control like they did with Alexa Bliss in WWE with her gimmick trying to imitate Bray Wyatt's Fiend character. They just kind of play little mind games here and there and do magical stuff. But it's nothing like, over the top ridiculous, Just simple little things here and there, and that's it. That's all we're getting from Rosemary and the Decay group. So I enjoy that. I think it's kind of cool. It's funny sometimes. It's also cringe sometimes. I mean, there are certain moments where they seem a little aggravating and annoying. This was not one of them. This was actually very fun. I loved how Tasha Steelz' reaction was. She was like, "What the fuck?" And, she started saying, "You're going to decay," and so on and so forth. And they just started laughing and, motioning towards the screen and all that stuff. That was pretty much that. Match number 3, we had Jonathan Gresham. Man, this guy's been fucking busy as hell, man. He's in Impact Wrestling, he's in AEW, he's in Ring of Honor, he's all over the place. You'd think they made fucking clones of Jonathan Gresham to perform all over the place, But Jonathan Gresham and Rocky Romero had a very fun, entertaining match. This was a great match. This is a match you would not want to pass up. Good wrestling that took place here. And at the end of the day, Jonathan Gresham got a win with a unique roll-up leverage pin. Not one of those normal, everyday roll-up pins that you normally see all the time. Just a very different pinfall that he performed here that I think a lot of you would appreciate, actually. Post-match, though, Rocky is eyeing the Ring of Honor World Championship as Gresham offers a hand. Rocky does and raises Jonathan's hand as Eddie Edwards was shown watching on a television backstage in a hype for their Rebellion match. These two are going to compete at Rebellion, but it's not going to be for the ROH World title. It's just going to be a simple little rivals match. That's all that's going on here. Eddie Edwards is actually part of the Honor No More, which is basically them shitting on Ring of Honor for being bought out and giving up on trying to be their own individual selves. We then get Ace Austin noting that it looks like it's just him, Speedball Bailey, and Trey Miguel in the X Division title match at Rebellion. Bailey says he knows exactly what he means. These two are supposedly alliances for this match to make sure that both of them have a good shot at winning, keeping Trey Miguel having no way of winning and only leaving themselves as one of the two to actually win the X Division World Championship. In the whole situation, Ace Austin is looking for him to ultimately become the X Division champion out of all this. So that's what he's looking for anyway. Match number 4, we had Steve Macklin versus Alex Shelley. This was actually a good match. Unfortunately, Steve Macklin did not win this match, and he's actually in the pay-per-view in a triple threat special match, a special triple threat match. Why he loses this match to Alex Shelley when ultimately him, Jay White, and Chris Sabin will be competing against each other makes no sense to me at all, but the match was fun. The one criticism I will say is Alex Shelley should have not won this match at all. Should have lost, since Steve Macklin's in the Rebellion pay-per-view match. So it made no sense to me. It doesn't make Steve Macklin look any good going into this pay-per-view, which is on the 23rd, which is, next Saturday. So they got one more episode, and then they got the pay-per-view coming up right after that. So I don't know, man. I find it very weird that they would make Alex Shelley win this match when Steve Macklin could have used the win more than Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley is not even part of anything on the pay-per-view to begin with. So why would he lose to Alex Shelley to begin with? Makes no sense to me. Madison Rayne is on the phone with Tanel Dashwood as she talks about firing Caleb with a K on the BTI tonight. She's interrupted by Giselle Shaw. She notes that losing Caleb is not good for them or good for the influence, but Madison reminds her that they retain their Knockouts tag team titles at Multiverse. They'll be just fine. She actually pinned Miss Shaw in that matchup, by the way, at that Multiverse event from April 1st. She says that Giselle says we'll see about that, and that's pretty much what happened there. Nothing big. We then have a big package taking Moose's side of things of the story. I already told you guys everything about it. They cut both of them in separate videos during this episode, giving Jason Alexander's side and Moose's side. Very much, the typical build-up leading towards the match that they're going to have at Rebellion. It's pretty much what it was. And it was a very good package, too, and I liked the music they were playing as well. It was pretty good. It gave a good tone towards the build towards this match. So Eddie Edwards and Honor No More runs down Philadelphia and its fickle fans. Mike Bennett joins in. So does Matt Taven, who says he's had fans who have followed him away from Ring of Honor, and out comes the Bullet Club. Jay White makes it known that the Bullet Club is best. Doc Gallows agrees. Maria runs down the Bullet Club with some good promo work, and brawl breaks out in the middle of the ring between both factions. Everyone gets laid out as Jonah's music hits for the main event between PCO and Jonah. So this was the main event. This was actually okay. I had no problems with this. Jonah, it was looking good. Impact Wrestling is they're treating him very well here in their promotion, unlike what WWE did with Bronson Reed. I'm very unhappy with how things went down with that. I think Bronson Reed needed a little bit of better treatment. And Jonah here, he did excellent. He won his match with a tsunami splash, got the 1, 2, 3 to end the match. PCO did a couple of dangerous spots that I don't think any normal man should be doing at his age. He's like in his 40s, maybe early 50s for all I know. He's been in the indies for most of his career. I noticed him in Ring of Honor in 2019, I believe it was, with Marty Scurll. And he went ahead and he tries to act like this machine that can't die or whatever. And he kept getting up and kept getting knocked down by Jonah. And post-match, PCO sits up. Jonah pummels him. But PCO is still getting up after these attacks. PCO sits up only to be hit with a chair at this point. This takes several shots to down a chair, and PCO and hits a tsunami after that. Jonah PCO chants as Jonah finally stands tall in the middle of the ring as the show goes off the air. So Jonah on this show apparently looks like he's being presented as a heel, but Honor No More is a heel group. So I was really confused by all that. Hopefully they get things right with Jonah. I don't think Jonah should be a heel. I think he's more of a face character than a heel. He deserves a lot better than just being a face character, because he's done. He performed like a face. He didn't perform like a heel. He didn't cheat. He didn't have to do anything out of the ordinary to make himself, win a match. He didn't have to cheat or anything like that during the match. So I was impressed with what he had to offer here. PCO didn't do a bad job either, especially at his age, throwing his body around like that. I don't know how he does it, but kudos to him. They should give him a fucking, a trophy or some shit. Guy is just crazy as fuck. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I didn't see a whole lot of chat going on in comments being made in the chat today. I guess because Saturdays are not the best days. Mostly everyone knows this channel to be live on a Tuesday night at 8:30. But unfortunately, some things happened during the week, which I'm not going to, again, not go into. But just some personal shit going on that I had to deal with. But yeah, sorry if I threw you guys off or anything. But it is what it is. So if you guys weren't here live and you didn't leave any comments or anything, by all means, leave comments down below. I'll interact with you guys as always. I always do. And Big On actually stated something here. I'll read it. He states, when Ryback says, feed me more, if you keep eating, you're going to get full. Okay. Obviously, that makes a lot of sense. But I don't know how that has anything to do with what we were talking about today. Ryback is old news. If you want to go back in a time machine and go to 2011 to 2014, by all means, we can talk about Ryback all you want. But Ryback does not exist in the wrestling realm anymore. He's basically a YouTuber. But yeah, Big On, man, I love talking to you, bro. Appreciate the support. I hope you enjoyed the show as well as everyone else that happened to catch the show. If you did, hit that like button. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, of course, you know what to do. Hit the damn subscribe button. What the fuck you waiting for? Anyway, if you guys want to leave any comments down below, I'll definitely get back to you on that. And at this time, guys, I'm closing out. Peace. I'm out of here. See you later. And I'll catch you on the flip side, guys. Bye.